So let's go over some of the other setup options. Under the Setup tab, there's a Setup Home tab. This is the particular tab where you can name your NPACs and give your customer information. You can set your clock, and notice that it does have the ability to be synced via NTP server. This is also where you would enable your astronomical clock. In order to enable the astronomical clock, first you must click the Enable Schedules tab. Then you can select country, United States. In our case, we're Kansas City, and you'll see that it automatically populated with the latitude and longitude. We'll save, refresh the auto clock. Also on this page, you've got the ability to print your network schedules and reset your password. Also at the bottom of the right-hand column, you'll see that there's the ability to do a remote reboot if you're not in a position to reset the box locally. The next tab under Setup is the Network tab. Here you'll be able to determine if you'd like a static IP or if you'd like to enable DHCP. DHCP is enabled as always the default. You'll also be able to configure your NPAC network or system. So for instance, if you have multiple NPACs on a system, you simply click the master. That determines the NPAC whose GUI is used to program the system, and then you add the IP addresses of your remote NPACs that you would like to report through the master unit. There's an email alert system where you can elect an alert contact and under what situations you'd like to receive an email alert. And at the bottom, of course, is the setup for the onboard email server. The next tab under Setup is Protocols. On the Protocols tab, this is where you can set up your DMX or streaming ACN starting addresses and default actions. The Panels tab, as we mentioned, has a variety of setup options. One is the zoning, as we've previously demonstrated. It's very easy to establish a new zone. For instance, we're going to establish a new sequence zone, Zone 3. We're going to add some circuits to it. I'll add 2 from the second box. And then I want to decide that we made a mistake with outlet number 1 in Zone 1. And you'll notice that if I try to add it to a separate zone, I'll get a warning box. Click OK, and it was immediately added to the third zone. Click Save Changes, and now we've established 3 zones for our NPAC system. The next tab under Setup is Schedules. Schedules work off the astronomical clock that we set up under the Network page. Simply enable a schedule, determine whether you would like it to automatically turn on, off, or both. For instance, many of our clients only like to use the off command to make sure that everything turns off at a specific time. If that's the case, simply uncheck the on boxes, and then you can determine if you'd like it to turn off as a function of sunset or a particular time of the day. We'll pick 9 p.m. and then this box turns into an offset for minutes. So at 9:30 p.m. every day, this particular schedule would turn that zone off. We save changes. We go back to the Panels page, and then you can assign a schedule simply by clicking on the schedule options. And we've only enabled one schedule, so only one schedule option shows up. And now that schedule is controlling Zone 1. Click Save Changes. And now we'll go to the Contact Closures page. Under the Contact Closures page, you'll see the option to set up the emergency shutoff, which is a standard feature, and the 4 additional contact closure inputs. You can determine what kind of contact closure input you're looking for, generally toggle, but it could be maintained normally open or normally closed. And then once that particular contact closure is set up, again, you go back to the Panels page and simply go to the Contact Closures drop-down, and you can determine which contact closure input you would like to control that zone. Additionally, on the Setup Panels page, you'll see some what we refer to as global commands on the left-hand column. The global commands cut across all zones. So for instance, by checking this particular box, you can turn all circuits on or all circuits off. If you check this box, you'll be offered a hurry off command. That's for those uh-oh moments where you need to turn off audio quickly. There's also an emergency shutoff functionality, and again, that would be a load shedding feature to load shed all amplified sound to help meet fire code. You'll also see that there is a voltage high-low function. If you select this function, you have the ability to select the nominal voltage from a drop-down box, and then you will see that the high and low thresholds automatically populate for shutting off selected circuits in case of over or under voltage situations. Under nominal voltage of 120 volts, if the system were to read above 144 volts for 2 seconds or below 96 volts for 2 seconds, any selected circuits would automatically turn off and then refire once the voltage was above 108 or below 132 for 5 consecutive seconds. In order to select a circuit, you can see on our legend, the green box has a V above it. So any outlet where the green box is checked, that particular outlet would automatically shut off if your voltage high-low were enabled. So that's an introduction to setting up your first NPAC system. Please refer to our operations manual for even more detailed information, or feel free to call us anytime at LynTec.